Hey guys, Amber here. Today I have the Evoro nut milk maker. I've had this for about 2 months, and for the longest time I've wanted a nut milk maker just so I can, get some of those additives and extra ingredients out of my almond and coconut milks and things like that. So anyway, now that I've been using this for a couple months, I'm going to show you some of the features and just give you some of the tips that I've learned. Okay, so when you're ready to use this thing, you're gonna plug it in and you'll hit mode, and you can go through the different modes here. So there's oat milk, almond, soy milk, juices and smoothies, a smooth soup, and a chunky soup. I've really only used the almond milk setting so far for various nut milks. And one thing I will say about this machine is it does make your milk hot. So if you're planning to use the milk right away, it doesn't matter for me because I usually use it in my coffee. But say if I was making a cold smoothie, you would definitely want to make your milk ahead of time. So one thing that I really like is this little 3-ounce cup that they give you, and this is all the nuts you need to make your almond milk. This is really great because compared to other nut milk makers I've seen that make you use a whole cup of nuts, this is just a really small amount. So that's been really awesome because you're not really having that much waste. I will say that they do have exceptional customer service. So once you get your machine, make sure you register it because they give you like an additional 2 years of warranty. And the company will reach out to you over text message and ask you, how are you liking your machine? And I've had some issues where I messaged them and then they've given me some really great tips, which was like so unheard of, in today's world. So anyway, they do give you really exceptional customer service and they really stand behind their product. All right, so this is the inside of the machine. You have the blades here, and then this is an anti-overflow electrode. One tip that the company gave me was to make sure you keep this clean, and that way that can do its job. But otherwise, this is what connects it to the base, and you'll see the base here. And whenever you put it on, you'll notice that there's a little gap here, and this is intentional. So this actually helps to let the steam out if need be occasionally, and this is only with almond milk. I had where a little bit of the almonds leaked out of the side, and what the company told me is basically you want to make sure that you're filling between the max and the minimum line. So within the pot here you have the max and the minimum, and what I've found is for some reason almonds, at least for me, are a little more tricky, so I definitely have to do the max line. Whenever I do my walnut and coconut mix, which I really love, I can do that one at the minimum line. So it's really all about finding, the perfect setting for you and the nuts that you're using. Other accessories that it came with are this little guy, this handle. I can't get it off, but when it comes, it's not attached and you just slide it on. Then you have this little strainer, which is pretty fine, and then an additional strainer. So sometimes I'll strain both. Once you put all of your nut milk in here, then you can use this to squish down the pulp and squeeze any additional milk back into your container. I personally don't like to heat plastic, and since this is plastic, I really have only been using this, but I haven't found like a great solution for like a glass container for it to go in. So I'm currently putting it into a measuring dish. It's a little bit messy, so I haven't mastered that, but I prefer not to completely heat up plastic, and I'll tell you that the nut milk is very hot once you've extracted the nuts. Another thing I've done, and this is mainly for almond milk, is get a nut milk bag. So you basically, pour the nuts in here and then squeeze it out. That is a lot of extra work. So to me, it defeats the purpose a little bit. But I have found that the walnut coconut mix doesn't produce as much pulp. There's something about the almonds where it's like really fine and it's a little bit more gritty. So that's when I'll use this, is for the almond. and then mainly I'm using the other strainer for when I do my walnut mix. And with any nut milk, basically it's going to separate from the water while it sits in your refrigerator. So just every time you take it out, just take it, give it a good shake, and then you're good to go and start using it. And that'll also just help with some of that grittiness. But I will say that my husband loves to froth his milk whenever he's having coffee in the morning, and the milk froths perfectly. And so that's been an awesome bonus. So as you can see, the container is pretty large. I'll put the measurements here on the screen, but it does say that it's a 40-ounce container, and it does make about 1.1 to 1.2 liters of nut milk. I did read a lot of the reviews before making this purchase, and I noticed that people were saying it was a very loud machine, or maybe a couple people. But I thought that was kind of a funny comment, because if you have a blender of any kind, especially a high-powered blender that can blend up nuts, it's going to be very loud. So the fact that people were complaining about this, I thought was a little funny, because the motor cycles on and off. So it's not continually running. Maybe towards the end, it continuously runs a little bit more, but in the beginning, it's more intermittent. So it stops and starts and stops and starts. I am not bothered by that, because that's to be expected. And that's one of the nice things about having an almond milk maker, because you don't have to sit there and hold the button, for however many minutes it takes for your blender to blend the machine. You can kind of just like set it, and then 30 minutes later it comes back. I know that other nut milk makers make their nut milk in like 1 minute. I personally don't mind the time. I just literally set it on my counter, put my nut milk in, and then later I come back and grab it. It does have a cleaning mode. So if you see here on the top, there's a cleaning mode, which I really only used like a couple times in the beginning, and the cleaning mode is very fast. So you just would put some, clean water and like a little soap and hit the clean mode, and it'll swish it all around. But I also find it very easy just to take the top off and clean it like right after it's done, versus doing the whole cleaning mode. And then I'll just set it to dry and then store it away. All in all, I'm very happy with this machine. Like I said, I've wanted a nut milk maker for so long, and if you don't want to spend, double the price of this to get a more popular brand, then this is a really great option for you. I have been very happy with it. I like that I don't have to use a blender and just sit there and blend the whole time. I can set this, go do some work, and then come back. But perfect for my use, and I hope it is for you too.